Okay, so cast your mind back. And it's a different experience for everyone, but I'd say the majority of Americans, 60, 70% of Americans, can recall a time when most Americans could talk about whatever happened on the late night television shows the night before, the actor that was featured, some of the jokes in the monologue, and a little bit of the flavor of the program, especially the band that would play. It was always a musical group that would come in and play, and they would be showcased, and it was always either someone who was up and coming in music, or it was someone who was well known, but maybe they had a new single out or were prepping for a new album. And so there was something about the previous night's late night television program that you could talk about at work or on your morning jog with a friend or whatever the next day's interactions were. So it's interesting now that we've seen the cancellation of Colbert, he took the helm over late night, and he was supposed to be the gold standard because of his intellect and his comedy and his name ID. And so he was seen as the next iteration. He would be the standard bearer and he would carry the torch forward for late night. And so they have pretty good ratings. This isn't a ratings decision to cancel Colbert. But I think because he really has such an obsession with President Trump, such a hatred for Trump and for Republicans, he's normalized that hatred. And the networks now have to decide how they're going to refill advertising dollars because the ratings are pretty good, but the advertising sales were not as good. You can see a slowing over time. But it's even more than that. If they want to be mainstream and if they want to reflect the kind of America that allows all kinds of opinions, you have to have a late night programming persona or no late night at all that will allow for all viewpoints. And Hollywood no longer has anyone they're willing to bring in that has that kind of a thought process, that kind of a worldview. So CBS and NBC and all of the main channels were mourning the loss of Colbert. They celebrated his political commentary, which shows how out of touch they are, not the decision. Take a look.
Colbert drew in millions with his biting sarcasm and critical commentary of the Trump administration.
This weekend was Father's Day, and Daddy got just what he wanted. No one came to Trump's big, stupid birthday parade.
The show is now the highest rated in its time slot and has earned 33 Emmy nominations and a Peabody Award. The news comes just days after Colbert made headlines for criticizing leadership of Paramount, the parent company of CBS, for paying $16 million to settle a lawsuit with President Donald Trump.
I'm offended, and I don't know if anything will ever repair my trust in this company. But just taking a stab at it, I'd say $16 million would help.
Trump's lawsuit alleged CBS News deceptively edited an interview with Democratic nominee Kamala Harris before last year's presidential election, an accusation Paramount has always said was completely without merit. Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, a guest on Colbert's show last night, tweeted, "If Paramount and CBS ended the Late Show for political reasons, the public deserves to know and deserves better." In a statement, Paramount said, quote, "This is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount."
So in the joke, he says that, they settled with Trump for 16 million. And then he kind of says, I'd like this a 16 million payout too. Well, it's coincidental. He makes $16 million a year doing the program. So he kind of signaled to them that his disrespect for Trump extends to management. And it's not unusual for television hosts who are very, very solidly in place. They're not new. They've been around a while. They have the street cred, if you will, to be able to criticize management, that they'll do so in a joking manner. But this is a very serious time for television as they battle the streaming giants like Netflix and Amazon for every household they can get. And I think you would be surprised to know that 82% of Colbert's political jokes in 2024 targeted Republicans, only 479 to the left. There were 15 jokes about Fox News. I mean, we're talking about a guy who was obsessed with hitting people on the right, and now he won't be doing that after 2026.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.